According to his top aides, Ron DeSantis will officially declare that he is a candidate for president next month. That way, he can drop out by June and have the entire summer with his family. Because nobody likes Ron DeSantis, probably not even his family. Why would they? He can't take them to Disney World. The only people unwelcome at Disney World are child molesters and Ron DeSantis.
You're listening to The David Feldman Show. You happy, self-actualized hump.
What a loser. You know, the guy has small kids. He's the governor of Florida, which means he could have Disney World wired if he kept his mouth shut. There'd be no waiting in lines, right? Disney World would be his oyster, but he had to go and piss off Disney. Who does that to their family other than Ron DeSantis? You know, I pulled a lot of D-bag moves as a father. Looking back, I regret. But ruining Disney World for your daughters? He's got 2 daughters and he ruined Disney World for them? Do you know what it's like to go to Disney World as a child and have Snow White walk up to you and say, your father's a twat? Do you know what that's like? Because my kids do, and I can tell you, it's not pretty. Ron DeSantis' daughters are pissed off. Meanwhile, the Disney company is suing DeSantis, accusing him of weaponizing Florida's government and punishing Disney for coming out against DeSantis' Don't Say Gay bill. DeSantis says the case is completely without merit, just like his Don't Say Gay bill, which is really called the Florida Parental Rights in Education Act, which prohibits teachers from discussing gender or sexuality with students. DeSantis believes that in Florida, these conversations should only be conducted at home between a young girl and her abusive stepfather. The Republican-controlled Montana State House censured Representative Zoe Zephyr, a Democrat and transgender state legislator, after she spoke out against Republicans banning gender-affirming care for transgender minors. Because she has now been censured, Representative Zephyr will not be allowed to debate any motions before the House and can only vote from her office. She is not allowed on the Montana House floor. Nice, right? Silencing someone because she criticized your views on gender-affirming care for minors. Republicans are real champions of free speech, aren't they? Between Ron DeSantis banning hundreds of books, forbidding teachers from discussing race or sexuality, and Zoe Zephyr in Montana literally silenced, not allowed to debate any bills on the Montana House floor, you really got to admire the Republican Party's commitment to the First Amendment. Let's be honest. Republicans only care about freedom of speech when one of them gets canceled for using the N-word. That's it. They only want freedom of hate speech is what they want. Meanwhile, the Biden Justice Department has filed a lawsuit trying to block Tennessee's new law, which bans gender-affirming care for minors, because that's the biggest problem facing the people of Tennessee, especially their children in Tennessee. You know, sure, they can't educate their kids. There's no money for education. It's one of the last remaining states that won't take Medicaid expansion under Obamacare, so their kids are underinsured or not insured at all. And of course, we all know they can't keep their kids in Tennessee safe from guns, but let's all focus on gender-affirming care for minors in Tennessee. That's the biggest issue facing Tennessee. The Biden Justice Department says Tennessee's law violates our 14th Amendment's guarantee of equal protection under the law. And it's not just Tennessee. North Dakota just passed a bill banning gender-affirming care for anyone under the age of 18. And Kansas passed a similar bill, along with protecting bathrooms from transgender people. But some good news coming out of Kansas. You may not know this, but they have a Democratic governor named Laura Kelly, and she vetoed that anti-LGBTQ bill. Kansas has a Democratic governor. Republican presidential candidate Nikki Haley spoke before the Susan B. Anthony Pro-Life America organization this week. When Nikki Haley was governor of South Carolina, she outlawed abortion after 20 weeks. Haley says she is unapologetic on her pro-life stance. But in her speech, she said, quote, "This shouldn't be about one movement winning and another one losing. This shouldn't be about picking sides. Really, this shouldn't be about picking sides. Let's see, you're pro-life, I'm pro-choice. Your side has made it impossible for women to get an abortion. In some states, even after they've been raped. I'm pretty sure this is about one movement winning and another one losing. This is such a Republican bullshit move. I'm all about compromise so long as you're the one compromising." Nikki Haley goes on to say, quote, "Let us discuss abortion as the important and deeply personal issue that it is." The deeply personal issue that it is. Okay, since it's deeply personal, how about you shut up? How about we discuss it only with our doctors and not opportunistic politicians like Nikki Haley, who couldn't give a rat's ass about babies or their mothers.
Okay, all flight controllers, go for landing. Retro. Go. Fido. Go. Guidance. Go. Control. Go. Telcom. Go. GNC. Go. Ecom. Go. Surgeon. Go. Capcom, we're go for landing.
Eagle Houston, you're go for landing, over. Roger, understand. Go for landing. 3,000 feet.
Professor Mike Steinel is the author of Saving Charlie Parker, a novel. It has the Feldman guarantee. If you buy this book and it doesn't thrill you, let me know and I will reimburse you. It's just that simple. It has the Feldman guarantee. Go pick up Saving Charlie Parker, a novel. And it's good to see you came in heavy tonight. You got two new songs, Talk is Cheap and All Tuckered Out.
Yeah, Talk is Cheap is an old song. I think I did that around...
I was going to say that, yeah.
One of the mass shootings, Talk is Cheap.
Yeah.
The line is, people who say that they're in your thoughts and prayers, they won't be there when you fall down the stairs. And then
I shouldn't be laughing. That's terrible.
That's okay. That's okay, David. Hey, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
So I was listening to the show, and thanks you for putting it up. I heard it Monday, and I was reading from the new book, but my pacing was horrible. Did you have a program that took the? You're not going to go back. Maybe I had it on like 1.5 or something, because you can speed up podcasts,
Right.
But I couldn't. I thought, God, I read that horribly. I didn't pause. I didn't have any.
Oh, you know what? Somebody might have edited it.
Well, why would they do that? Don't do that.
I know. Should I take it
Somebody
down?
jacked with it. I thought so.
Yeah. Your ear, you have perfect, you know what? Yes, somebody
Why would they do that?
It
wasn't that long, was it?
No, I don't know, but I have
Something to take out the dead air?
I think so.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
How's my sound, by the way?
I'm sorry about that.
Well, you should be, David, because you bring me here with my little songs. I'm just a little monkey with songs coming every week.
Yeah. I
say,
apologize.
Dance for my pleasure, little monkey.
I don't say that publicly. I know
it's in your head.
I say it over the phone to you. But I don't do it. I present myself
I pick up the vibe. I catch the vibe. I know what's going on.
I call you,
You know.
a little monkey in private, but not. People don't need to know that I'm a monster publicly. How are things in Texas, in beautiful Denton, Texas?
We've been very busy. The weather's been kind of crappy. It's cold, rainy. Today there was water in the garage. Beverly came home from shopping and she goes, "There's water in the garage." I go, "What's that about?" "Did it rain?" "No." And so we had a water heater go out. And I called a plumber. I called this company. And within 15 minutes, they were there. And 3 hours later, we had a new water heater. It was pretty amazing, actually.
See, I live in an apartment, and we were visiting some friends who live in the country. And for me, on paper, living in the country looks like a great idea. But then there are woodchucks that come into your home, and they die, and they smell, and there's nature.
If you don't have a tight house. Yeah.
I think you get spoiled living in the city. You're miserable. You keep saying I'm bereft of nature, but you begin to loathe the thing you crave the most. That's what's happened to me.
Let me think about that. You loathe the thing you crave the most.
I want nature in my life. And then I go and see it and I think, wow, this is scary stuff.
Does that carry over into your sex life?
Yeah. Yeah. It does. So,
Hey, remember last week I talked about a book I was reading.
yes.
And like 2 minutes later, after you said who wrote the book, the name came to me, and it's Donald Hall, Writing Well.
Writing Well by Donald Hall.
It's a fantastic. I want to read
Now,
it.
is this a passive aggressive way of you saying I need help with my writing?
If the shoe fits, David.
It's a little tight.
No,
quite
you're right.
frankly.
You're right. You write well. I love this. He's got such a great way. He's talking about adjectives and the cliche. He says, in our minds, we associate certain adjectives and nouns. Our minds are not only computer dictionaries, they are junkyards of cliche.
That's beautiful.
If we think grass, we probably think green. We move in worn tracks. If we think snow, we think white. These weary associations are not really thinking. They are automatic responses to stimuli. The more ourselves we can be, the less we will resemble a machine. Anyway,
So he's saying don't write white snow, just write snow.
well, I'll come up with a better adjective, for snow,
Right. And what's the guy's name? Don Hall?
Donald Hall. It's a great book.
Donald
Great
Hall.
book. Yeah.
When was it written?
It's old. 59.
1959.
No. 57. No. Hell, I don't know.
And who wrote
73. But you can't, it's out of print, but you can get it used for like 50 cents by Little Brown and Company.
Okay. I read Stephen King's book on writing, and I found it really helpful.
It's very good, and it's a quick read. Yeah.
Yeah.
I discovered this one on a podcast called Murder Your Darlings, which is great. And the reader is fantastic. And he waxes poetic about this book. He gets into it a lot, but he also talks about Stephen King's book and he just takes every good thing about every good writing about writing, and he's put it into a podcast, or not a podcast, but an audiobook.
Now, do you sit in front of a computer? Do you stand? What is your process?
I should stand, but I do sit, and it bothers my leg. I have a bad leg with that because I sit there too long. Literally, David, from Thursday last, that's the way you would say it, I suppose, the day after my gig at the wine bar, my wife and I have been putting together the songbook. We're going to do a tribute to Nadine, my mother-in-law, Beverly's mother, who lived with us the last 3 years and passed away in February.
She was on this show, I believe, in September.
Was she really?
Yeah.
Well, she yelled from the downstairs. She said, "Shut up! I'm watching my show."
No, you were doing a live show.
Oh, that's right. We introduced her from the thing. From the wine bar. That's right. Yeah. There's Nadine.
Right. And she said hello.
Woman. Yeah. That's right. Okay. Right. So you got to see her. That's neat. Yeah. But, we're putting, there's a kind of a congregational, a celebrational sing-along in her memory of all the songs that she loves, hymns, pop songs. Rosanna Eckert's going to be there, and she's going to sing Stardust. And it's going to be May 7th, a week from Sunday, at the First Presbyterian Church. It's going to have the Denton Bach Choir and the Chancel Choir from our church and jazz dignitaries from the area. And but we've been putting together a songbook that everybody's going to get who attends, because they can sing along. So all the songs, like 40 songs that I had to put into finale. And I literally sat at the keyboard, sat it in front of the computer for about a week. So it's over now. It's at the printers. So,
and she made it to 100.
Yeah, she was. It's really interesting to see her dates, because it's 1922 to 2023. So she into her 101st year.
So so if you were born in 1922, you can remember things that happened in 1928, 29.
Yeah, she's a Depression child, and a teenager in the World War II, whose first husband was shot down, or went down. His plane went down in the Pacific just months after they were married, her first husband. And it's a great story. They honeymooned. They got married in California while he was still in the service before he shipped out, and they honeymooned, and she kept a beautiful scrapbook. It's so amazing. They did everything. They heard the Count Basie band. They heard Stan Kenton. They went to every club in L.A. And
this was during World War II.
Yeah, the world was going on, and he was getting ready to ship out and go. They flew from an island. He was in the Army Air Force, which later became the Air Force, and he flew from an island, and his plane had difficulty, and he had to turn back from a bombing mission. He was the pilot, and they never found the plane.
They never found the plane. Well,
yeah. So anyway, we're doing this great thing Sunday, so it's really cool. I have some other gigs coming up. They're down the ways a bit. Going to play at the Wine Bar June 24th here in Denton, and then the next day we fly to Las Vegas, and we're doing the show in Las Vegas.
Really?
At the American Federation of Musicians.
Oh,
been
wow!
Invited to play there, and
in Vegas. Yeah.
When's
the last time you were in Vegas?
The last time I did that show 3 years ago. I think it was summer of 2019.
Yeah, I haven't been in Las Vegas for a long time. I guess I want to go back as a tourist just to see what it's like, but I spent too much time in Las Vegas. It just not.
Hey, let me ask you. So when you do a club out there, you had a lot of time on your hands, right?
Yeah, I had a nervous breakdown in Vegas because literally where I thought I ought to. It was about a couple of decades ago, and I thought I had to be hospitalized. It got really bad. My feeling is, if you ever are told you have 2 days to live, go to Las Vegas, and it'll seem like 2 centuries. If you don't gamble and you have to be in your hotel room and you can't gamble, time moves like like the hotel in Barton Fink. It just nothing.
That's a scary hotel.
Yeah, Vegas is
a hotel in Barton Fink. That's good.
I hate.
Well, you said once the reason they have so much lights is there's no light It's all darkness in in Las Vegas.
This is what when I finally came out of this, like a 5-day anxiety attack. I remember what Eli Wiesel said. They asked him about Auschwitz. They said, "Where was God?" And he said, "God wasn't here, and he wasn't at Auschwitz." And I remember thinking, Schmucko, you went to Vegas.
What did you think?
You're not going to find.
What were you thinking?
There's no God here. This is where you go. This is where you come to Vegas and say, "I got it, God. I got it. I don't need you right now." And it is a godless place. It is. If you're spending money on blackjack, if you have money for blackjack, but you don't have money for charity, it's pretty godless. It's pretty horrible to blow $100 or $1,000 at the table, but then when it's time for tithing, you come up short. It's pretty godless stuff. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, that's a good observation.
Yeah, but you can't say that.
Maybe we can do the podcast from there. Maybe we can do it.
And I'll tell you, you're going to burn. Our thing is going to be.
Our thing is going to be really quick, in and out, you know.
Yeah.
I only gambled once in Las Vegas, and it was like by 2 a.m, all my money that I brought was gone. And it was like, why did I do that? You know? I'd schooled myself up to play blackjack. You know, I'd learned the stuff. My mother was a pretty good blackjack player. She'd go on cruises and they'd have casino night and she'd win. She just played the program. You know, they give you those cards in Vegas. Here's what you do if the up card's this and your card's that, you know, and here's when you split and here's when you double down and here's when and if you do that, supposedly you have a little edge.
And
I don't know.
She probably had she was good at math, right?
She was a math teacher. That's right.
Well, there you go. So that's almost a curse because you become obsessed with
my folks. They love to go to the casinos. It's kind of shocked me because they were just school teachers, you know, with no money. And then when they got on the Kansas teacher's pension, they would, you know, make these trips to Vegas and then other places. It was fun.
Well, I mean,
for them,
my parents used to love to come see me when I was playing casinos because you people watch, you're tempted, you kind of, if you're responsible, you almost can assume a self-righteous pose and look at other people and say, I'm not going to fall prey to this. I think there's some of that goes on. I also think gambling, I know some compulsive gamblers, and you know, it's a form of punishing oneself. They have to get rid of their money. They cannot allow themselves to be secure.
I've read that the compulsion is almost as much about losing as it is about winning.
Right.
You know, like here's another book I've been reading. This is the Count Basie itinerary from 1936 to 1950.
What do you mean his itinerary? What do you mean?
This guy has put together everything Count Basie's band did, from contracts and then handbills and posters and like notices in the press. But what is amazing is,
so you must be in heaven reading that, right?
Yeah, but I just can't imagine what it's like. For example, Tuesday, September 39, Manhattan Center in New York, afternoon concert. The 20th, Roseland Ballroom. The 21st, Stamford, Connecticut. The 22nd, Newark, Connecticut. The 23rd. This is pretty cool. They're staying around New York.
And where are they sleeping?
On the bus, probably.
Oy.
The 24th, Buffalo. The 25th, Cleveland. The 26th, Indianapolis. No days off yet. The 27th, St. Louis. The 28th, Kansas City. The 29th, Omaha. The 30th, Denver. Okay, now the 2nd of October, so they took the 1st off.
And they're sleeping on the bus.
Yeah.
So they're almost like ghosts. I know the feeling. If you just keep moving and keep working, you don't mind, right? You're not dealing in reality.
I kind of had a meltdown on the road where I just started crying for no reason because like my electric piano got dinged up because they were loading it. And I realized I was just so exhausted.
Right.
You know, we'd been doing like a bunch of hits like that.
But you stop being a normal human being and you just become a creature of the road, and you have no obligations other than sitting on a bus, getting along with everybody, and playing your music. There's almost something, it's almost like a monk-like existence. I can see how that, I know that from working the road, where it does become...
but you wouldn't do one-nighters like that. Boom, 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 boom. You would sit down and do like a weekend, long weekend.
Yeah, I mean,
then you'd come back.
Yeah.
That kind of road work, Dylan's band kind of works like that, but he gives them, I've seen their itineraries. They'll do like 3 days in a row and then 3 days off and then 3 days in a row, kind of geographically close together. And he travels in two big bunch of semi trucks for the equipment, and then two big travel RV homes, huge RV homes. One for him, one for the band.
And does he check into a hotel or just?
They might. Yeah, I guess so. When he was spotted, remember in Newark or where was he? He was in Hoboken, that he was arrested without, we just found, he was looking at a house. He walked up to the house that was for sale and read and then this lady cop picked him up and he looked like a homeless person. He didn't have his wallet with him. And he said, "What's your name?" And he said, "Bob Dylan." Well, that didn't mean anything to her. And it wasn't later, and when they got to the station and he called the manager, and the manager came and got him. But
well,
they were staying in a hotel then.
How many years ago was that?
Oh, I don't know. 3 or 20. That's the way my brain works.
Right. I mean, there's a story about one of the Temptations going to a hospital, I think in Detroit, suffering chest pains, and they put him in a straitjacket because he told them he was one of the Temptations.
Oh, geez. And
they put him in a straitjacket. And because he's African American, and there's a long history of racism in our medical establishment. I was going to ask you a question. I forgot what I was going to ask you. Was it about Dylan? I can't remember. Should we play Talk Is Cheap?
Let's play a song. Talk is Cheap. Yeah, I like Talk is Cheap.
This is what
from the archives.
From the archives. Old music from Professor Mike Steinel.
Talk is cheap, it doesn't cost a dime. That's what they tell us most of the time. They say they'll keep you in their thoughts and prayers, but probably not gonna be there when you fall down the stairs. When you're laying there bleeding and you're starting to weep, just remember what I said. Talk is cheap. We need a serious conversation about conversations that are serious. So many people talking nonsense, it's making me delirious. For every situation, they got a simple platitude. I'm so distracted by it all, I got a bad attitude. Everyone world seems to know exactly what I should do. I don't think they have a clue as to what I'm going through, 'cause talk is very cheap. You can get it for a dime. At least that's what I hear most of the time. People think they're helping when they spout those aphorisms. I'm beginning to think we should lock them up and put them all in prisons. Stuff like it is what it is, and take the good with the bad. Let a smile be our umbrella, and don't be so sad. An apple a day keeps the doctor away, and look before you leap. Just remember what I said. Talk is cheap. Talk is cheap. All these words sound good and logical on the face of it, but when you really look around for the truth, sometimes there ain't no trace of it. An apple a day keeps the doctor away, but if you're allergic to apples, I don't know what to say. The early bird gets the worm unless the worm is a very large bird-eating worm. Good things come to those who wait is a statement I simply can't confirm. 'Cause talk is cheap, you can get it for a dime. That's what they tell me most of the time. All good things come to those who wait, but while you wait, you start to resent all the great stuff your friends are getting. Talk is cheap. Pride goeth before a fall, but what if you fall and you feel kind of proud about it? Look before you leap, unless you're scared of heights, then I suggest a blindfold. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger, unless you're kind of weak to begin with, then it probably will kill you. And remember, actions speak louder than words, unless you can yell real loud. Talk is cheap. 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 It doesn't cost a dime. That's what they tell us most of the time. They say they'll keep you in their thoughts and prayers, but probably not gonna be there when you fall down the stairs. When you're laying there bleeding and you're starting to weep, just remember what I said. Talk is cheap. Talk is cheap. Talk is cheap. Talk is cheap. Talk is cheap.
I remember that. That's genius. You're a genius. You are. You have to unmute yourself, my friend.
That grew out of one thing you said, like we need you in your monologue. You hit this theme of we need to have a because people were saying we need to have a serious conversation about guns, you know, and nothing's happening as has been the case. And your monologue was we need to have a serious conversation about having a serious conversation.
Right. I think I reused that
Recently?
last week. Yeah, I think I said that again. God, that's great.
It's a good thing. So nothing wrong with
Pride
saying
goeth before a fall.
unless you fall and you're really proud of it. The one I like is early bird gets the worm unless the worm is a really large bird-eating worm.
I love that. I love that.
Hey, you want to play Tuckered Out?
Yes. I have a feeling I know who this is about.
You feel tuckered out this week?
I think we know. This is new music from Professor
I wrote this afternoon.
All Tuckered Out.
I've been watching Fox News since 1996. You think by now I'd be onto their tricks, but somewhere on the way I lost my perspective. I've lost any will to think or be objective. I've been Rush Limbaugh, I've been Bill O'Reilly, I've been Glenn Beck, and I checked out Hannity. I don't know quite when it happened, but somewhere on the way I lost all my humanity. I'm all tuckered out. I'm all tuckered out. I'm all tuckered out and I'm looking for the key, but I'm not too crazy about MSNBC. I researched it all and did some serious bird dogging. Looks like it goes way back to Father Coughlin. It's a long line of people who bend the truth. Some are long dead, some are long in the tooth. I've been G. Gordon Lillard and Oliver North. I've been Mark Levine and I checked out Ben Shapiro. Facts are alternative, truth is an option. Fear is a mantra and there ain't no hero. I'm all tuckered out, yes indeed. I'm all tuckered out. I'm all tuckered out and I don't know when, but I might have to switch to CNN. CNN. He's so tuckered. He's so tuckered out. 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 Maria Bartiromo is kinda hot, but that guy Steve Ducey is definitely not. Truth was an option on the Carlson show. Tucker was only interested in making some dough. I've been Rush Limbaugh and Bill O'Reilly. I've been Glenn Beck and I checked out Hannity. I don't know when it might have happened, but somewhere on the way I lost all my humanity, 'cause I'm all tuckered out. I'm all tuckered out. I'm all tuckered out and I'm looking for the key, but I'm not too crazy about MSNBC. I'm all tuckered out. I'm all tuckered out. I'm all tuckered out. I'm all tuckered out. Aren't you tuckered out like me? I'm all tuckered out. I'm all tuckered out. I'm all tuckered out. Yeah, I'm all tuckered out. I'm all tuckered out. I'm all tuckered out.
Wow.
I missed the crowd noise. Where's the crowd applause?
I don't want to. I just want to hear you. Mike Steinel is a jazz trumpeter, pianist, composer, arranger, internationally recognized jazz educator, author of the highly acclaimed Essential Elements for Jazz Ensemble and Building a Jazz vocabulary. His latest book is a novel entitled Saving Charlie Parker, a novel. Go buy this book. And if it doesn't blow you away, I will reimburse you. It has the Feldman guarantee. That is just beautiful. We have a question from Nancy. Did Professor Steinel grow up in a musical family? How much does he think musicality is learned as opposed to innate?
No, it gets in there deep. My dad was a band director. My mother said she wasn't musical, but she did sing. She was kind of embarrassed over singing. My dad was, he was my trumpet teacher. He was my music teacher until I went away to college, basically. And
so
he was a good teacher.
From the time you were born, he was surrounding you with music.
It was just there, I remember he would always play. He would, and we had records. We didn't have a ton of records, but I was interested in him.
Well,
and,
Arrest records.
He gave me.
We want to talk about that?
What's that?
The Arrest records. We don't want to bring that up.
No, don't bring that up.
Okay.
He gave me a trumpet when I was 6. But I do think it's nurture. I don't think like just because you would inherit it. Maybe you would. I don't know.
Supposedly, I was just reading about Elton John, that he just could sit down at a piano and just start playing. That certain people just have it all figured out.
Well, if you have an ear and your ear is hooked up to, your instrument that you're playing, a piano or whatever, then it's just a matter of tapping into that. I do know that I found it easy to play different instruments. I was doing it. I mentioned a podcast I was on a week ago Friday, and this person, Emily Merrill, it's called Artifice. It didn't up yet, but she asked me a lot of questions about my childhood, and there's stuff I hadn't really thought about. But I do remember getting the trumpet at 6 and my dad showing me the scale, and then I just kind of goofed around on it. But something in me clicked around 6th grade, the summer after my 6th grade year. I just really wanted to, I was kind of bored. I just played the trumpet all day long. Whatever music I could find, I would play and just practice it. And it was, it was hot. I remember it was hot and muggy, and I think I played baseball that summer, but I didn't like it, right. And I wasn't any good at it either. But
you are so great. You are so
well. Thank
great.
You, David.
You really are. I have a question. So I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay.
And I don't have to think about it. I'm asking you a question. There's no delay. And the question is, can you sit down at a piano or pick up a trumpet and just think the tune and play it the same way we talk to one another?
I'm close there. I'm close to that. When I'm playing music that I know, it's just really natural. It's really easy.
You're not thinking about, you're not thinking about the notes or the finger positions. This is the sound I want, and I'm just going to play it the same way I'm talking to you right now, where I'm not thinking about the letters and the words. I'm just saying it.
I go back and forth. I think just like when you're driving the car, sometimes you don't even think about what's going on. Right. Then every now and then you think, I have to do something. I have to put on the brake, But I think I'm scanning, and the mind can work very quickly. I don't think you can ever think about two things at the same time, but I think you can go back and forth, between many things. And so I'm working on physically what the trumpet is, what I want to do with the trumpet. I'm dealing with the sound in my head. I'm dealing with what's going on in the band. A lot of it's, jazz is very conversational. If it isn't conversational, it's not jazz. Mm-hmm. That's the whole thing about jazz. If you take the interaction out of jazz, it's not jazz. Now you can have rock and roll. Rock and roll doesn't have a lot of interaction. The drummer plays boom, boom, chak, rhythm guitar plays something, it's all worked out. No one's going to stretch into their other people's rhythmic zone or harmonic zone. Jazz is different. Has to have so you can have rock without the interaction, and it's rock. But if you include interaction, then it's jazz rock. Same thing with Latin jazz. If it has the interactions, it's Latin jazz. Otherwise, it's just great salsa, or it's great, like cha-cha music or whatever. Mm-hmm. It's in the style. It's a style. But jazz has the aspect of interaction, particularly between the people in the rhythm section, piano, bass, drums. They each have, there's 3 jobs for the rhythm section. Pulse, boom, 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 ba-doom, doom, harmony. And then interaction. The bass does pulse and harmony. If it's a walking bass, they don't really interact too much.
Well, you know what? We're out of time. This is so great. Yeah. This is what we should do. I would love you, because you've done this before, where you break down songs for us.
Yeah.
This is just too good. And I mean,
we're running late.
Yeah. Next week, I would love it for you to.
Let's talk about how jazz is interactive.
Yeah.
And I'll bring some examples.
Yeah. So great. I need to talk to you on the phone about the music and getting dinged and what music I can play and what music I can't play. But
I'm only bringing music that's not anywhere on any platforms.
Okay. Yeah, I don't want to get your friend Ray Hare. I don't want to piss him off.
No, he wouldn't. It wouldn't be him anyway. It'd be Spotify.
Right. Right.
That they're his enemies. He's their enemy.
Right.
Because he's trying to get us paid for Spotify. Yeah. By the way, I've had music on Spotify for years. I never got a cent.
Well, it's got to go to Joe Rogan.
You have to get monetized. You have to get over a certain number of spins.
Got to pay Joe Rogan $250 million to spread conspiracy theories about COVID. Professor Mike,
important, David.
Yes, Professor Mike Steinel. Song and Dance is the name of your album, and get the audio book of Saving Charlie Parker, which features music from Professor Mike Steinel, including the song Turtle, which I love. Thank you.
It's all there on savingcharlieparker.com. You can go right there.
Go to savingcharlieparker.com. I love you, buddy. So great.
Love you too, David. Have a good week.
Thank you.
You're listening to The David Feldman Show. You happy, self-actualized hump.